Housing Problem Solving Unscripted, a demonstration of what a housing problem solving conversation could and should look like for communities that would like to increase provider capacity to use this strategy. What is housing problem solving? Housing problem solving is a person-centered, housing-focused approach to explore creative, safe, and cost-effective solutions to quickly resolve a housing crisis and supports the effective implementation of homelessness prevention, diversion, and rapid exit strategies. Key components. Exploring safe and stable housing options using housing problem solving techniques leverages community based housing and supports outside of the homeless response system. It preserves more costly and intensive housing resources for those with no other options while reducing the trauma of prolonged experiences of homelessness. Housing problem solving strategies should be attempted with all households regardless of perceived or actual level of needs and barriers. Special consideration should be given to account for the way the distribution of resources and implementation of these strategies will affect different racial and ethnic groups. Housing problem solving should be embedded system-wide with problem solving conversations taking place at every stage of the homeless response system. Housing problem solving seeks to find alternative solutions to avoid homelessness and prevent shelter stays and supports rapid exit from homelessness into safe and stable housing. The most critical component of housing problem solving involves a person-centered exploratory conversation. In some cases, one conversation may be enough to identify solutions that lead to successful resolution, while in other cases, more than one conversation may be necessary. Background. The client met with a diversion specialist at Coordinated Entry to request emergency shelter. She previously resided with her twin sons in her own apartment, but was asked to leave after allowing her brother, a returning citizen, to stay with her after his transition from jail. She always paid her rent on time, was a good tenant, and did not immediately need shelter following her eviction, as she was able to stay with friends while her son stayed with a family member. The client feels like she is out of options and needs emergency shelter as a last resort.
I really didn't want to come here, to be honest with you. Everything, has just been crazy in the last 7 months.
You said it's been a really tough 7 months with COVID, and that you were in school for a while, and that you've been working, and because of all that's been going on, you lost your job. And even then, you really were making efforts to try to stay employed. And you talked about trying to lease a car through Uber to work with them, but that really didn't make any financial sense in terms of how much they were going to charge you, and that you were staying in your own place, but it was a month-to-month lease. And when your brother was released, he stayed with you, and then he got into some trouble, which then the property managers then told you that you had to go and that they were not renewing your lease. So you've been staying at some different places. Your kids right now are with your cousin, is that right? So they're okay, and that you're here now and really trying to figure out what to do next. Is that right?
I was in school to get my CNA, and I was doing some medical billing part-time.
Yeah, and I hear you really wanting to keep yourself healthy and keep your kids safe and healthy, and having them stay at your cousin's is allowing you to do that. Could you talk a little bit more about your relationship with the property manager, and it sounded like things ended in a difficult situation, but have you had can you just talk more about that?
I mean, I think everything was fine. I just made I won't even call it a mistake. You know, my brother needed me, and so I helped him out. And you know, he got into trouble, and they found out that he was staying with me, and I mean, I feel like I was evicted. There was no reason, you know, I didn't get in trouble. He was the one that got in trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel like they put me out. I
Okay.
paid my rent on time. I didn't have any issues. You know, our kids were well-mannered and respectful to our neighbors.
Experiencing a housing crisis is a stressful event. Housing problem solving helps explore networks, strengths, skills, safety net, employment, and permanent housing opportunities.
I really feel like I just need to go in a shelter because I know they can help me while I get on my feet.
Okay.
And I have, you know, I have some other family members that have gone through shelter and they ended up getting housing.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things that we're able to do is help people with housing without you having to go into shelter. So I think the goal would be to help you get back with your kids immediately, and then to still help you with longer term housing so that you can avoid the risks of being in shelter and the COVID risks, or just the hassles of having to live in a place where there's lots of rules and restrictions, and to try to keep you in the community and to keep you with family while we still help you formulate your plan for housing, for employment, and to get back with your family.
So if I could stay with my cousin and my kids, I would, but there's so many people that are living there, and she has a Section 8. So I feel like if I do that, I'm going to put her and my kids in a position where the same thing is going to happen to them that happened to me.
I know from time to time, we've been able to work with public housing to see if the leases could be changed to go from like a 2-bedroom to 3 or a 4-bedroom. If something like that was a possibility, could you see yourself being roommates with your cousin, where your sons and her kids could all be together in the same household? And
Housing problem solving is a strategy that looks at creative options, often in more than one conversation and from different angles, while empowering an individual experiencing a housing crisis to make supported decisions.
sometimes it works out where it's not just her doing you a favor, but you would then be able to do help out watching her kids while she's either going to school or working, and vice versa. So it allows, you know, more adults to be there and be more present with the kids, and allow each of you to pursue, you know, education or just going to work. And then if it's Section 8, then it would be you know, a place that both of you could afford. I know that there's some people on our team that have some relationships with the Public Housing Authority, and maybe you could talk to people at the Housing Choice Voucher if you think that that's a possibility. And we could certainly talk about bringing your cousin into this conversation and maybe talking with her about that.
I don't know, maybe I could ask one of my other friends if I could stay there for a little bit.
Well, as I said in the beginning, we really would like to try to help people get back on their feet, back into stable housing, so that you can either pursue the CNA license or get back to doing maybe driving. We do have a small amount of some flexible funds that we may be able to access that could help with maybe the car repairs. To do that, we would like to help you stay outside of the shelter if you feel like that's a safe possibility for you. As we pursue maybe this expanded Section 8 possibility. What would you think about that, and what would it take maybe in order for that to work?
I mean, I think it could be a good idea. I'm a little afraid, and like, I want to be sure that if something falls through, that I have a backup option. I don't know, maybe I could ask one of my other friends if I could stay there for a little bit.
Before we do that, I want to see if you have any questions about what we've been talking about. And I want to make sure that this is not my ideas that you're saying yes to, but that this is something that you think makes sense for your situation and something that you would want to do.
I mean, I feel a little bit relieved, but I still have anxiety because I don't have like clear answers yet, right?
Sure.
Like, I haven't had the conversation with her yet. So, but I do feel a little better.
Yeah.
I feel like those are two plans that could work.
Okay. Yeah.
This short video was created to provide a glimpse into an unscripted 37-minute housing problem-solving conversation. Housing problem solving is a critical tool for communities to use as a part of their homelessness crisis response system. Visit hudexchange.info for more information.